I like to think that I could start calling Mondays Crosstalk Day. That's right, it is Monday and we're back once again, and today we're having a regional discussion. With me is a very bright young man. He's definitely made his way throughout the university. I'm talking about the outgoing president of the Cavehill Guild of Students, Mr. Dalano De Suza. Well, Dalano, first of all, thanks for joining us here on Crosstalk.
All right, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. Well, Dalano, we see you as students as the former guild president, but just tell us a bit more about, who is Dalano De Suza?
Okay, well, like you said, many of the students here at Cavehill and the way population of Barbados would know me as the outgoing guild president. But who is Dalano De Suza? I guess I would say first I'm Vincentian. I'm from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm a Caribbean man. I like to think of myself as a Caribbean man. I'm very pro-Caribbean integration. I'm very pro-regionalism. I always believe in hard work, dedication, that sort of thing. Raised by a single parent, so there's that dynamic about me as well. I'm very close-knit with family. I'm very close to my siblings, that sort of thing. But most importantly, at Cavehill here, it's all about, for me, dedication and trying to bring St. Vincent and by extension the region forward. So that's me basically.
So what level are you at right now in university? Because I'm at Masters, but I know you're somewhere ahead of me.
Well, this is my final year, hopefully, of my PhD. I'm doing a PhD in Economic Development Policy here at UWI. It's been 3 years. I'm into my 4th year now. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of other things other than my research. I'm a little bit behind time, but I hope to be finished by next semester and hopefully defend over the summer and go from there.
Well, definitely all the best with that.
Thank you.
But all right, take us now to your tenure as the Cavehill Guild President. Now, we hear it, we think of it as just a title, but what does the role of the President of the Students Guild entail?
Okay. Well, like you said, people just think of it as being president.
Yeah, just that big title.
But like the Constitution of the Guild of Students says, the president is actually CEO of the Guild of Students. And when you think CEO, you probably think something like a company, an institution, an organization, something like that. But it really is that. The Guild of Students, for all intents and purposes, is an organization. It's almost like a business. It's a non-profit essentially. As you know, we have employees. We have five employees. We have offices. We have a building that we have to maintain. We have salaries and everything. So it's really, being president really means managing the day-to-day business of the Guild of Students as well. And there's the other end, which is advocacy, obviously, which is the part that students are most concerned about. What are you going to do on behalf of the students? But that's only a little half of it. But running the Guild of Students is almost like a full-time job, managing everything. We have salaries to pay, like I said. We have maintenance costs and so on. The budget is big as well. I mean, as Guild President, you oversee over $500,000 Barbados for an academic year. So that's a lot of money to do a lot of things, hopefully, for the students. So there's a lot about it. And my favorite part, obviously, the reason why I got into it was advocacy. Trying to ameliorate the situation of the students here at UWI, Cavehill, and throughout the region, as a matter of fact, because, as Guild President, you sit on the regional boards and bodies of the university. So it's really about that for me.
All right, so you're Vincentian, and there are also several other nationalities on campus as well, especially the region is well represented on the Cavehill campus. When you think about it, does the university play a significant role in regional integration on a whole? Well,
I think it continues to. I think the role of the university in terms of regional integration has somewhat diminished from the older days. I mean, although the Cavehill campus now, I think we have about 70% of our students who are Barbadian, and so we boast the highest non-national population of all the 4 campuses, which is good, yeah? But at the same time, when you look at it in its historical context, where we've had situations in the past where the Cavehill campus used to be the only campus offering law, the Mona campus used to be the only campus offering medicine, and so on, and St. Augustine engineering. So in that kind of context, the university used to play almost a bigger role in terms of the actual movement of people in the region to actually attend university. But now, I mean, it's not a nuance now, it's not a change. I think the university still plays a major role in terms of regional integration, just the makeup of the university, because in terms of the Senate, we have representatives of each country and so on, the contributing countries and so on. So there is that regional dynamic of it. But I think in terms of the physical movement of people, we've lost that a little bit. And as you know, last year we had our last cohort of Jamaican law students come in. So that for me, I was in the end of my presidency here, and that hurt me because having
see
been
that
here for so
culture just
long,
go, and it was very strong on
yes,
campus as
yes,
well.
you know, the Jamaicans are very strong on campus. Just to see that sort of disintegrate now because of the advent of the law school in Mona and in St. Augustine, and so it's kind of disheartening in a way. But I think URI continues to be a pillar, and I think under this new vice chancellor who's really pushing for regionalism and internationalism in terms of the university, that we have, you know, we have some things to look forward to.
When you think about it, the campus has now been hit by financial troubles, or so it's being said. You know, and then you also have a case where there's several students who are unable, Barbadian students that is, unable to afford university. So has that then impacted on regional integration itself? Because the interaction of students is what we would deem to be the major part of regional integration. So the decline in the Barbadian students, you know, has that actually impacted campus life and regional integration on a whole?
Well, to be honest though, and I love Barbadians. I love Barbados. I've been living here for a while, and so. But I think, to be honest, if you're to be honest in terms of the participation of the Barbadian students on the campus, it is quite low. And you would remember last year we went on a mission to try to resuscitate the Barbados Students Association, because you have the most members on campus, but yet you're struggling to put on activities and so on. So I think in that context, it's been difficult for the Barbadian students. But I think what has happened too, as a result of the introduction of partial tuition fees, is that a lot of the Barbadian students that are now here at the campus, I think they're a little bit more focused in some way, because I mean, you're paying your way, so you're trying out. There's a great attention being paid. You try now to take in as much as you can, kind of like get your money's worth. So I think now, and I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing by the Barbados Student Association this year, and the 50 years happening and so on. So I'm encouraged by that. But I think in terms of the regional integration and getting to know the Barbadian culture, I don't think it has been really affected by the imposition of tuition.
Right, then, and one major question, not outside of a Barbadian context, you know, is the question of the cost of education, not only in Barbados or the region, but internationally. You know, one simple question: is it too expensive?
Is it too expensive for us? I don't think so. I think when we always have to look at things in terms of the global atmosphere. We're in a globalized world. When you look at the cost of a UWI degree and the percentage of it that the students ourselves have to pay, I mean, I think our governments are bearing most of the cost of the university, of the expense of the, you know, tuition cost is astronomical, and that is borne in most cases by the government, by your respective governments. I think in terms of that, and we have to stop looking at it as, you know, I mean, we have to look at it in our context, yes, but at the same time, if you were to pursue a law degree or a medical degree in a foreign country, UK for example, I remember I was supposed to go and do my master's in the UK. I had gotten acceptance and everything, and then I went to the bank home to get a loan, and I simply looked at my master's here at UWI and the cost of my master's at Leicester, where I was going, and it was a no-brainer for me. I decided to remain at UWI and you know, try to, because to me, what that does to me is keeps my debt low, which means I have a better chance of sort of, you know, springboard and propelling myself forward, you know, when I actually start, you know, being employed and so on. So I think that's important. I think obviously you have to look at it in terms of the different socioeconomic conditions within the countries of the region. And we know it's been deteriorating. We can't deny that fact.
Especially with the economic
you know,
and whatnot.
but I think what we need to realize is that education is one of the best things you could do for yourself,
really
and sometimes,
yes,
precisely. And
using it.
I was talking to a colleague yesterday, and she asked me, she told me one of her friends messaged and asked if UWI is expensive, or if education is expensive in general. And I say it's more expensive not to be educated, and that's how I would put it, really.
Definitely, I have to agree. All right, one final question for you. You know, we talk buzzwords, regional integration, CSME, CARICOM. You know, what more can we do to ensure that it's not just something on a piece of paper, but that it becomes something practical? Because that, in my opinion, is what is the biggest thing lacking. It is not practical.
Well, for me, and I attended the Brexit seminar put on by UWI the other day, and I think one of the striking things that your former Prime Minister Owen Arthur said is that I think the leaders today are not sort of marrying foreign policy. And when I say foreign policy, I mean from a regional context, because to us, obviously, Caribbean integration and CARICOM is a foreign policy in terms. So what we have in the Caribbean now, and this is my opinion, I think what we have in the Caribbean now is that when we go to the electorate, when we have an election cycle, I think the issues that are being put forward by a particular party have to do with local conditions. Yes, that's important.
And not taking into consideration
regional. Okay. So when an electorate votes, they're basically voting on issues that are local, but they're not looking on the regional front. So if you look at the US elections now, for instance, foreign policy is a big thing. and the people actually, the people in America actually vote on foreign policy, what you're going to do in terms of trade in the region, you know, and that sort of thing. But we don't have that here. And I think what he was alluding to is the fact that back in his time, what the prime ministers then realized is that they had to take a responsibility, because to be honest, on a day-to-day basis, regional integration isn't on the minds of our everyday citizen. And so he decided back in those times that he had to take the responsibility as prime minister to speak about it. If you have an election cycle, say, yes, I'm going to do X, Y in Barbados, but I also want to do X, Y in the region. And so in that sense, you're kind of engaging them. So when they vote, if you're elected, then you then have a platform to say, well, when I was seeking election, I told you I was going to do these things on the regional front, and you still, and you know, and you gave me the mandate. So I now believe that I have the legitimacy to go forward in search of these regional integration projects and so on. I think that's critical, and I think that's something that our leaders need to realize right now. And I think we have an important part in that as well, because education is important. And when I say education, I mean we who know about the regional issues, we need to make sure that it's on the agenda. You know, we need to continue to gesture for it and to make sure that not just us, but the people in our respective countries know the importance and the value of the regional integration movement.
I mean, if you consider as well, the campus itself of the various universities of the West Indies are the perfect place to foster that, because you're in essence working with the individuals that you will work with on a regional level as well. So that's something that needs to be considered as well. So when we form these friendships on campus, we need to take into consideration that, you know, the person in your financial class who is from Grenada is somebody you will speak with on a board on a regional issue as well. So those are definitely things that we have to consider as well.
Yes, I completely agree with you, and I was speaking recently in another forum, and I said I'm encouraged by what I see currently, even in my crop. So in terms of the attendance at UE, I think I see within us a group of people who are going to be propelling the region, and within me currently, I feel like if this group of people, they're really regional minded. So when they do get into the positions that can affect and can influence the regional integration movement, I think it's going to be good for CARICOM as we go, you know, as we graduate and as we go into our different roles and our different jobs. I think we're going to have CARICOM not even at the back of our minds, but always on the forefront of our minds and trying to make something happen
because we
regionally.
Definitely lived it each and every day on
exactly.
campus.
I agree.
For sure. Well, guys, we'd like to thank you for joining us here. A lot of food for thought with Mr. Dalano De Suza. Definitely a wise mind. We wish you all the best once again for your studies. You know, thanks for joining us. Well, guys, we will see you next week on another episode, another Monday. That's right, Crosstalk.